Oi, oi, oi! Looking for aim like this?
Wait up.
One enemy remaining.
What the?
Well, you've come to the right place. I'm Zapper, the Immortal 3 Yapper, and in order to achieve top 1% aim, your microcorrections need to be on point. Once mastered, microcorrections become the most consistent aiming tool that you will have at your disposal. There's a big problem though that's been holding a lot of players back from improving their microcorrections as efficiently as they can be. Funny enough, calm aim is the problem. Staying calm is always beneficial, especially when aiming, but many players slow down their aim far too much when practicing calm aim. I don't know about you, but when I think of good aim, not only is it accurate, but it's fast too. In this video, I will try and cover everything the aim community currently understands about microcorrections, in the hopes that at least a couple of you guys learn something beneficial that you don't already know. Since I already brought it up briefly, let's begin by talking about the speed of microcorrections. Should they be fast? Should they be slow? Should they be somewhere in the middle perhaps? Turns out, microcorrections should have dynamic pacing. What does this mean? Depending on the situation you find yourself in, different speeds are beneficial. I'll go a bit more in depth to clear out any confusion. Just keep in mind the logic can get a little bit confusing, and when in practice, it's better to only keep the general concept in mind so that you're not overthinking your actions and that you can fully focus on improving. Against moving targets, which you're going to frequently find in Valorant, micro-adjusting too slowly will leave you battling to keep your crosshair on target. If you're not moving your crosshair at least slightly faster than the enemy is moving, then you will never reach the target unless they change directions. In which case, you will have the same exact problem if they manage to pass over your crosshair before you shoot them. This reveals another huge issue players have when aiming: target reading skills. Bad target reading skills often make aiming much harder. If you find yourself flicking off the target before shooting, you likely lack good target reading skills. Oftentimes, poor target reading skills can easily be fixed with more tracking practice, and I'll be making an entire video in the future covering everything we know about tracking, similar to this style of video. It's important I mention target reading skills here though, because being able to read where your target is going is essential to having good microcorrections. If you're unable to quickly identify where the enemy is moving, you are essentially guesstimating when making microcorrections. Luckily, there is an easy way to improve target reading skills without training tracking. Sure, I'd recommend you do both, but for the sake of this video, I'll keep it simple. My tip is to work on keeping your microcorrections smooth and controlled. When you move your mouse, your entire screen moves. So, the smoother and more controlled your aim is, the easier it will be to see your surroundings and any changes in your environment, such as the enemy switching directions, jumping, doing whatever, honestly. So far, we know that going too slow is bad, but going too fast is actually bad as well. Have you ever found yourself constantly overflicking your target? This happens when your microcorrections are too fast. Since microcorrections are often extremely small movements with your mouse, when going too quickly, you will typically lose control and then begin overflicking. If you don't catch yourself doing this, you may get caught in a horrendous whiff, constantly flicking over your target who is barely even moving. Here's the thing, y'all. In a match, oftentimes you won't have much time to aim. This puts pressure on you to take the shot quickly. In these situations, your microcorrections should be quick, but just be careful you aren't going so quick that you lose control. When you find yourself behind the enemy or you just have more time to line up your shot in general, you really should be taking that extra time in order to guarantee the shot will land. When training microcorrections, it's a bit different though. If you've been playing FPS games for a while now, I'm sure you've noticed that sometimes it feels easy to aim your mouse onto the target, and other times it almost feels like you can't even move your crosshair a millimeter, despite how hard you try. This happens simply because you don't have perfect control over your mouse, which is completely normal. No one has perfect control over their mouse. The point is, everybody's different. When training, you will notice that you can easily make some microcorrections quickly with no mistakes. But when you come across certain microcorrections that feel a bit uncomfortable to make, that's when you should actually be slowing down. If you don't feel confident with a microcorrection when training, you slow it down and you make sure you do it right. If you keep your pacing the same for all microcorrections, you will continue to improve your microcorrections on angles you're comfortable with, but at the same time will continue to fail at the same corrections that you find uncomfortable. Basically, over time, you will naturally train your microcorrections unevenly. This just happens because you encounter certain corrections more than others. But in order to fix this issue, you need to take extra time to make sure you execute the correction correctly. I will note that this practice only works on targets that aren't moving. The reasoning is the same as I discussed earlier. If you are looking to have pinpoint accurate tracking on moving targets, then you should be practicing scenarios that smooth out your aim, which I'll be covering in my future video about tracking. Let me take you back into Valorant for a second. Just because you have good crosshair placement that puts your crosshair close to the target doesn't mean the resulting microcorrection will be easy for you to make. If you're purely looking to maximize your duel win rate, you should avoid taking fights if the micro adjustment is feeling difficult. Through training and practice, over time you will become more comfortable with these adjustments and the number of fights you can comfortably take will increase. I will say though, that taking these fights anyways is still a very reasonable option because it forces you to practice uncomfortable microcorrections in a high pressure environment. This does mean, however, that you will likely lose the duel. So it's a trade-off of extra experience versus more elo. Okay, but what really is a microcorrection in the first place? In all reality, a microcorrection is more than just a small mouse movement. It's actually your ability to quickly recognize how far off your crosshair is in comparison to the target and quickly make an accurate adjustment based on how the target's moving. Basically, humans make mistakes, and microcorrections are big brain monkeys' last-ditch effort to fix the little errors from crosshair placement or even just previous mouse adjustments. In summary, good microcorrections result from one's ability to quickly read not only how the enemy is moving, but also where the crosshair currently is in relation to the target. Then in one smooth, controlled motion, adjust the crosshair to the correct distance in order to land it perfectly on the target. From there, all you gotta do is rinse and repeat if your previous microcorrection was wrong or if the enemy happened to move at the perfect time. Of course, you also have to be clicking your mouse at some point too, preferably at the end of your micro adjustment because this is when you are most likely to be on target. Anyway, I hope this helped some of you guys out. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments down below. Those of you who somehow made it to the end, y'all are going places. Seriously. Dedication like that is rare. Appreciate all you guys. Hope you have a beautiful day.